What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandon Smith. Apologies for the casual attire. I started recording this video with the air conditioner on and discovered you could distinctly hear the hum of the machine in the background of the recording. So apologies, it's very hot in Ontario today. We get about a day and a half yearly like this, much like the state we are going to be talking about today. Cheesy segues, I have them, let's get into it. The day is Tuesday, August 11th, 2009. The song, I Got a Feeling by American foursome, the Black Eyed Peas, is #1 on the Billboard chart. The film, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, starring Channing Tatum, is #1 at the box office. And just yesterday in Anaheim, California, Angels slugger Vladimir Guerrero hits his 400th career home run, becoming the 45th major leaguer to reach this lofty milestone. 2,100 miles northeast in Antigua, Wisconsin, 15-year-old Kayla Berg is dropped off via Jeep at the dilapidated home of a former Flame late in the evening. As the headlights reverse course, the teenager is obscured by Dairyland dark, never to be seen again. This day in mystery. Tuesday, August 11th, 2009, in Antigua, Wisconsin, is relatively mild for the dog days of summer in the American Midwest. With a daytime high of 75 degrees Fahrenheit, residents of the Badger State are treated to a brief respite from the usual heat characteristic of the month. 15-year-old cheesehead Kayla Berg appreciates the mercurial drop in temperature. Second child of James Spanbauer and Hope Sprague, Kayla May Berg was born on August 29th, 1993. Although never legally married, the couple romantically separate in the spring of 1994, leaving 7-month-old Kayla and 3-year-old senior brother Jimmy the product of a now broken home. However, the now divided parents still prioritize giving their offspring the best possible upbringing. Each child is bestowed the responsibility of choosing which guardian to spend their time with at any given moment. Berg blossoms into a bubbly, optimistic young woman, highly concerned with the well-being of others and flourishes in both scholastics and sport. However, in spring of 2009, Kayla begins spending less time with either Hope or James, choosing to spend the majority of her time with friends instead. The association shift also sees a precipitous drop in Berg's grades. Similarly, things are also not going well for Kayla's parents. James has been diagnosed with cancer and undergoes dialysis to treat the malady, a hardship that sees him relegated to his parents' home in the interest of care. Hope is hit with joblessness, and her prospects are stark in the small blue-collar community of Antigua. As such, in June 2009, she and Kayla sit down for a serious tete-a-tete. Hope tells her daughter that she has decided to move to Texas. The elder Berg has family there, and they have reassured her that employment will be more forthcoming in the Lone Star State. Hope gives Kayla the option of either staying with her father and grandparents in Wisconsin, an option that she is informed her brother has already decided on, or moving south with her to Texas. Kayla decides on the latter and ensures her mother that a concerted effort to her academic endeavors will accompany the move. But as so often happens, the best laid plans gang aft agly. In Texas, Hope is unable to find work, and Kayla, a gymnastics savant, is despondent to find out that her new school does not offer a program for the activity. top of this, James has taken a turn for the worse back in Wisconsin. So, less than 2 months after arriving, on August 2nd, 2009, the newly christened Texans return to Wisconsin. Back in Antigua, Hope moves in with friends and Kayla moves in with her grandparents. The already overpopulated domicile does not lend itself well to new inhabitants, and the teen is cast to sleeping on a cot in the upstairs hallway of the abode. Nevertheless, Kayla is determined to make the best of a bad situation. Junior year is less than a month out, so Berg still has plenty of time to enjoy the summer. Henceforth, on August 9th, Kayla tells her father that she is spending the night at her friend Natasha's house, even though Berg has no intentions of doing so. Unbeknownst to either of her parents, Kayla and her friends have taken to traveling to a nearby town called Wausau. With 5x the population of Antigua, here Berg and co. spend their nights regaling in all the trappings of teenagehood. Drinks, drugs, boys, everything is available in Wausau. James tells his flesh and blood to have fun. However, the next day when Kayla fails to return home, the ailing man is concerned. Berg does not own a cell phone of her own, so James calls the home of Natasha and is dismayed to find that neither Kayla nor Natasha spent the previous night there, and what's more, both are as of now unaccounted for. James's next call is to Hope, and within a matter of minutes, both mothers of the missing girls find themselves filing coinciding missing persons report at the Antigua police station. Midway through comprising the document, Hope's phone rings. On the other end of the line is Kayla. She apologizes profusely and says she overslept. However, Berg is unaware that Natasha's mom is already hip to the seat and the jig is up. Once reconvened with her mother, Berg comes clean about everything and promises no more Wausau. Another condition of Kayla's mea culpa is to keep Hope more apprised of her comings and goings. As such, on August 11th at 2:30 p.m., daughter calls mother and says she is once again going to visit Natasha. Hope is grateful for the update, and while still weary of Natasha, she honors her wayward daughter's follow-through by granting permission. At 3:45 p.m., Natasha and Kayla visit a nearby park. At 5 p.m., they head to Natasha's house. Inside, the pair find Natasha's older brother, Kayla's older brother, and a 24-year-old named Kevin Kielcheski. Although 9 years her senior, Kevin has quickly become a fixture of Kayla's circle of friends. He is also of particular service due to his ability to drive to and from the group's preferred destination of Wausau. Natasha has a job at a local restaurant, and since she works that night, she heads off at 5:15 p.m. to make her shift. Kayla also takes her leave, but not before making future plans with Kevin. Back at her makeshift home, Berg spends the remainder of the daylight hours with her father and grandparents. At 8:45 p.m., Kielcheski places a call to the residence. At 8:53 p.m., Kayla bounds into the passenger seat of Kevin's Jeep. The pair cruise through Antigua for the next 40 minutes, and at 9:30 p.m., Kielcheski and Berg pull into McDonald's. The female occupant of the vehicle heads inside the Golden Arches. A familiar face is working the counter, Kayla's friend, Beth. Berg tells the restaurant employee that her plans for the evening are as follows: driving around with Kevin and smoking weed. Beth may have interest in meeting up with the twosome after her shift and tells Kayla to call her later on. Berg says that she will, before grabbing her brown bag and heading for the exit. Back in the Jeep, French fries and joints are passed between occupants whilst the vehicle heads due southwest. At 10:30 p.m., it stops course at an unilluminated rural property. Berg exits the Jeep alone. Backlit by the vehicle's headlights, Kayla Berg walks towards the dark home. On the morning of August 12th, James awakes to the visual of an empty cot in the hallway off his own bedroom. All other areas of the home also bear no evidence of his daughter. Knowing that Kevin was to be Kayla's steward the since past evening, James places a call to the 24-year-old. Kielczewski is scant in detail, but does manage to proclaim that he dropped Berg off at a friend's house at her behest. The day comes and goes, and Kayla does not return home. Disquieted by the developing situation, James calls Hope. Unable to make contact, he leaves a stress-laden voicemail. The following morning, the two do connect. James says that Kayla is still unaccounted for and retranscribes his conversation with Kevin from the following day. Hope is worried, but having been in this very circumstance just 4 days prior, she is reticent to visit the matter on authorities' doorstep. As such, she does some personal investigating. Hope calls Natasha. She says that she hasn't seen Kayla since the 11th. Subsequent assertions of no knowledge is given by each of Kayla's peers. Hope's son Jimmy calls on the 15th and gives Hope a momentary glimmer of promise when he tells the woman that he has heard through the grapevine that Kayla is staying with a yet unreached friend. However, the optimism is quickly quashed when Hope contacts this gal pal and is told that Kayla is not there now and has not been anytime recently. On August 16th, the only person that Hope could not make contact with finally responds to her text. Kevin Kielczewski again reiterates that he dropped Kayla off at a friend's house and has not seen her since. When pressed for specifics such as who was the friend, what time, and what was she wearing, Kevin affirms forgetfulness and terminates the correspondence, bereft elaboration. Beginning to feel the full gravity of the situation and gravely cognizant that this absence is very different than the last, Hope files a formal missing persons report for Kayla on August 17th. Captain Dan Dooley of the Antigua Police Department is tasked with taking the report. Given Kayla's recent behavior, the captain is underwhelmed by the seriousness of the account. As such, Dooley classifies the missing girl as a runaway. However, the police headman does place exploratory calls to both Kevin and Natasha. Kielczewski cannot be reached for comment, but the latter says that she originally assumed that Kayla was simply in Wausau again, but now believes otherwise, insisting that Berg would never let this much time elapse without making contact. Dooley believes that Natasha and others may be covering for the missing teenager, but something about the sudden disappearance doesn't feel quite right. On August 20th, the runaway classification is vacated and the case is upgraded to endangered missing child. Regional media picks up the story. Missing persons flyers sprout up in the community. Since Antigua has a population of just over 8,000 people, word spreads fast, and in a short matter of time, the name Kayla Berg is on every resident's lips. On August 26th, a tipster reports a Kayla sighting at the local Walmart. Detectives are able to identify the woman thought to be Berg in a review of the store's surveillance. In the video, an unknown female exits a silver Ford Taurus in the retailer's parking lot. She then spends nearly 30 minutes in the Walmart. After leaving the store, she exits the parking lot in the passenger seat of a black pickup truck. The footage is brought to Hope. The worried mother concedes a strong resemblance, but ultimately decides that the woman on the tape is not her daughter, pointing to the difference in body language and gait observed in the video. Police agree and publicly discount the sighting. Other eyewitness accounts pour in, sightings that include Kayla back in Texas working at a gas station and that of a married woman in Louisville, Kentucky. However, each tip is thoroughly vetted and cannot be formally substantiated. Local chatter is beginning to swirl. Gossip hounds postulate that Kayla was pregnant and murdered as a result. No official report can be put forth to quiet the whispers. Antigo PD contacts the much larger bureau in the state capital of Madison for additional resources. Together, the two departments explore all possibilities, including human trafficking within Wisconsin and neighboring states. 10 days after Dan Dooley's original probative call to Kevin Gilcheski, the 20-something finally responds. During this contact, Kevin is equally vague with the police as he has been in the past with Hope and James. However, after pressing the matter, Gilcheski finally gives up the location of where he dropped off Berg on August 11th, 1017 East Wausau Avenue. The significance of the address, he tells police it is the home of Miguel Marrero. Who is Miguel Marrero? In 2009, Miguel Marrero is a 19-year-old living in Wausau, Wisconsin, with a reputation for hosting parties, and 1017 East Wausau Avenue was the location for most of the get-togethers. At one of these fiestas, Miguel met Kayla, and the two began dating shortly thereafter. According to friends of the couple, the relationship was brief yet intense, with the two only parting ways when Kayla left state in June 2009. Police bring Marrero in for questioning. Here, he acknowledges that he had previously dated the missing girl. Miguel also admits that he had met and spent the night with Kayla multiple times since she had returned to Wisconsin, but stopped short of calling their rekindled romance a relationship. Marrero also tells detectives another interesting tidbit. He no longer lives at 1017 East Wausau Avenue and hasn't for some time. According to Miguel, the home was condemned by the county after inspection and he was forced to vacate the premises, a fact that he insists Kayla was well aware of. Friends of both Marrero and Berg attest to the statement, saying that Kayla had been to Miguel's new home just about a mile away the weekend prior to her disappearance. Wausau police thoroughly inspect the deteriorating dwelling at 1017 East Wausau Avenue and can find absolutely no evidence that Kayla, or anyone else for that matter, has stepped foot in the building in quite some time. Additional searches of the nearby wooded area yield similar results. Interestingly, though, a cadaver dog brought in to examine the proximate lake demonstrates a positive result. However, a dive team tasked with searching the body of water find nothing. The National Guard deploy thermal imaging helicopters to scour the rough terrain, but no heat source is detected. Marrero's vehicle is subjected to luminol testing and samples are collected. The specimen is submitted to the crime lab, and while never commenting on the nature of the sample, Captain Dooley says tests came back negative as relating to Berg. Miguel's cell phone and relative records are subpoenaed and collected. The device indicates no contact with Kayla on the night of August 11th. However, detectives discover a second cell phone linked to Marrero with a much more interesting history. On the morning of August 12th, just 3 hours after Berg was reportedly dropped off, the device registered 2 phone calls, one at 1:12 a.m. and the other at 2:25 a.m. Both calls went unanswered. Both signals pinged on cell towers located in Lincoln County, Wisconsin, 40 miles north of Wausau. Cadaver dogs are brought in to search the broad area, and again, nothing of interest is found. Immediately after this second scavenge, Miguel Marrero refuses all subsequent police interviews and cuts off contact entirely. He maintains that on the evening of August 11th, he was at a party, one which Kayla Berg did not attend, and he has absolutely nothing to do with her disappearance. With Miguel Marrero no longer speaking to authorities, police double back to their original focus, one, Kevin Kielczewski. According to Kevin, he and Kayla left McDonald's at 9:30 p.m. on the night of August 11th, 2009. The two smoked marijuana in his Jeep over the next hour before he dropped the teen off at 1017 East Wausau Avenue at approximately 10:30 p.m. Kielczewski says he was unfamiliar with the address, and Berg was instructional in providing direction to the house. Kevin is clear that while he acknowledges dropping her at the location, he did not actually see Kayla enter the property, only seeing her approach the dwelling as he pulled out of the driveway in the opposite direction. After this, Kielczewski reports that he drove back to his home in Deerbrook, a small town just 7 miles north of Antigo, a timeline that his mother will later corroborate, saying that she saw her son around midnight at their shared residence. When presented with Kevin Kielczewski's full account of the events of August 11th, the family and friends of Kayla Berg are incredulous. Friend Natasha and brother Jimmy say that Kayla had no plans to go to Wausau that night. Mother Sprager and father Spandauer say that their daughter was absolutely terrified of the dark, so the idea of Berg being dropped off alone in the wane of a gibbous moon is absolutely absurd. Kevin's phone and its records are also subpoenaed by Antigo PD. The data indicates that Kielczewski places a call at exactly 9:07 p.m. on the evening of August 11th. Immediately afterwards, the phone is either switched off or loses battery and remains powered down until 2:18 p.m. on the afternoon of August 12th. A very curious electronic recess considering the highly important chronology of these lost hours. But authorities do note that this is not the only occurrence of prolonged disconnect. Kielczewski was prone to these lengthy deactivations, according to Kevin's phone records. Kielczewski had many similar events both before and after the Antigo teen went missing. On October 26, 2009, Kevin is arrested on charges of reckless endangerment of a minor. According to police, the prosecution stems from the fact that by Kielczewski's own admission, he picked up and smoked marijuana with a 15-year-old who is now gone. Kevin pleads not guilty. One benefit of the charge is that detectives now have evidentiary access to Kielczewski's Jeep. The vehicle is submitted to luminol testing. Areas of emphasis are submitted to the crime lab for further analysis. In December 2009, police officer Karen Corcoran, a special investigator with 10 plus years in human remains detection experience, is brought in from Madison. With absolutely no fore information regarding the case, Corcoran and her specially trained scent dog, Slim, are presented with 10 unique vehicles arranged in random order in a closed location. One by one, the officer and her canine maneuver through the array of cars and trucks with nary a hit before the German Shepherd stops in front of one of the automobiles and alerts. It is Kevin Kielczewski's Jeep. The duo carries out 12 more additional searches in locations throughout Marathon and Langlade County, with only 2 sites yielding positive results: the potato farm where Kevin worked and rural land owned by Kielczewski's parents. When asked for comment, Officer Karen Corcoran said, "My dog continues to say that human remains are connected to one person of interest." The highly prejudicial information leaks to the Antigo populace, and soon Kevin becomes persona non grata in the small town. Jimmy severs all contact with his former good friend, firmly of the belief that Kielczewski, at best, knows more about what happened to his missing sister, and at worst, is responsible for her disappearance. However, all is not damning. Lab results for Kevin's Jeep come back inconclusive, and on August 8th, 2011, nearly 2 years to the day since Kayla disappeared, Judge Fred Kowalski dismisses the reckless endangerment charge against Kielczewski, saying that the defendant cannot be prosecuted on the complaint as evidence does not substantiate the accusation. On October 11th, 2009, a video is posted to YouTube entitled "Hi Walter, It's Me, Patrick." In the video, the bespectacled Patrick tells a tale to an unseen Walter of recently finding a girlfriend. The narrator continues that he has brought his girlfriend home, and despite her hating cameras, he is going to introduce her to his audience of one. The vlog-style recording is very mundane in nature. However, the submission takes a distressing turn when Patrick unlatches a door to reveal his girlfriend to be a shackled woman on a bathroom floor who is frantically pleading for help. The man enters the same restroom, closes the door behind him, and the video ends. The 2-minute chronicle exists in relative obscurity in the annals of YouTube until October 8th, 2016, when it catches the attention of one eagle-eyed observer. This individual thinks the bathroom captive bears a striking resemblance to a missing girl. Acting on his intuition, he brings the video to Antigo Police's attention. Authorities also see an uncanny similarity between the chained hostage and Kayla Berg. Moreover, the timeline would fit as well. The video was originally uploaded just 2 months after Kayla's disappearance. Detectives show the footage to Hope, and she too believes the unknown woman looks a lot like Berg, but she cannot be certain that the two are one and the same. The brief but cryptic YouTube video soon finds its way to mainstream media outlets. An appeal for the abductor behind the missive to come forward and identify himself is put forth by news program Inside Edition, all while a national audience is exposed to the story of the missing 15-year-old from Wisconsin. However, just 3 days later, Antigo Police Chief Eric Roller and his staff are able to track down the woman, and she is decidedly not Kayla Berg. The female in the recording is identified as 36-year-old actress Lucy Cabo, and the male in the footage is 36-year-old actor Michael Maton. The Utica amateur filmmaker tells the Antigua police boss that he had originally planned to release subsequent videos that would have fully realized the entire narrative into a series, but lost interest and never uploaded any further episodes. Michael says that he is wholly unaware of Kayla's case and the public uproar his all but forgotten video has caused. Maytone says the video was never intended to cause any harm and derisively points his finger squarely at the media for misconstruing the concept and not understanding the fictional web horror genre. All right, so what do I think happened? The story of Kayla Berg is especially tragic. A young girl barely into teenagehood with so much ongoing tumult disappears so suddenly, never able to fully capitalize on her adult potential. My thoughts are with her surviving family and friends. I pray for positive resolution, wish you solace in your plight and efficacy in your quest for answers. Just before I dive into the theories, allow me just a brief pulpit moment, if you will. When researching this case, I found an absolutely abhorrent glut of victim blaming. Many say that Kayla was out of control or that Berg's parents gave her way too much leeway, and the resulting disappearance was a foregone conclusion. I've said it before in other videos, and I will say it again. Victim shaming and or victim blaming has absolutely no place on this channel and will not be tolerated whatsoever. Those doing so will be swiftly banned, so save your keystrokes. You are not perfect, and I am certainly not either. As the good Lord says, he that is without sin among you, let him cast the first stone at her. Rocks go down. Thanks for your cooperation. Let's talk theories. Beginning on this very platform with YouTuber Michael Maytone. At face value, the idea is certainly plausible. A video by a kidnapper with a prisoner that bears a stark resemblance to Kayla Berg, just months after she goes missing. But the police thoroughly vetted Michael Maytone and determined that he was in no way involved. They identified the woman as Lucy Cavo, a woman 21 years older than the 15-year-old we are looking for, not to mention the logistical considerations. Upstate New York is a long way from northern Wisconsin. According to Google Maps, it is over 1,000 miles from Utica to Wausau. If the filmmaker's idea was to bring a little reality to the proceedings, I have to believe that there are more geographically desirable targets than one Kayla Berg. But nevertheless, some online naysayers still believe that Michael did in fact kidnap Kayla, and the woman in the video is indeed her. You can't convince them all, but for this YouTube content creator, the evidence is more than summarily sufficient to rule out that YouTube content creator. Next, Miguel Marrero. Weird that it's another double M alliteration. I literally just noticed that whilst typing and decided to keep it in the copy. Miguel certainly throws up a couple of red flags, namely, Kayla was last seen at his former residence, 2 cell phones, and the unexplained trip to rural Lincoln County in the hours after Berg disappeared. So let's take each bandera roja uno por uno, starting with Miguel's previous home. I can actually see a scenario in which this design would make sense. You tell your ex to meet you at your old haunt. The building is condemned, so no one's around to witness the future events, and all around you is plenty of rural landscape to dispose of evidence. All that works. However, in this framework, you also know that your victim is being driven to the location by someone else, an individual who can certainly testify to this fact in your ex's absence. Additionally, police searched the property and could find no evidence that Miguel or anyone else had stepped foot in the residence. So, what about the 2 cell phones and the chronologically problematic trip to Lincoln County? Okay, for the record, I do not personally know Miguel Marrero. I have never met the gentleman and am unfamiliar with his particular oeuvre. But in my personal experience, I can think of a certain illicit occupation that may involve trips to clandestine locations and multiple oft-secret contact devices. I won't state the profession outright, but let's just say it rhymes with plug sealer. Now, there is nothing, and I stress absolutely nothing in my research indicating that Miguel was in fact a plumber, but I still think this may be the motivation behind these duplicitous possessions and covert travels. So, for this reason and the absolute dearth of a reasonable motive, I am comfortable ruling Marrero out. So finally, we have the equally alliterative Kevin Kielczewski. Lots here. Kevin was the last confirmed person to see Kayla alive. Kielczewski's mobile was powered off during the oh-so-important hours between 9 p.m. on August 11th and 2 p.m. on August 12th. Kevin's only alibi is his mother, and 3 separate searches by the goodest of boys, Officer K9 Slim, indicated the presence of human remains in 3 unique possessions and property directly related to Kielczewski. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it just is what it is. This channel strives to operate according to Occam's razor. That is my core guiding principle. The simplest answer is most often correct, and the simplest answer here is Kevin Kielczewski killed Kayla Berg. I think sometimes it gets lost in my Canadian accented hyperbole, but in this video and all my videos, it bears repeating that I am only offering my humble personal opinion. I have no ultra vires to indict, nor should I. My conjecture should never be taken as such. I have faith in the powers that be directly involved in this case, like all others I discuss. With that said, here's what I think, emphasis on think, happened. On the night of August 11th, 2009, Kevin Kielczewski and Kayla Berg are well imbibed and headed to their favorite hotspot, Wausau. Just past the city's landmark sign, a chemically emboldened Kevin makes a pass at Kayla. Berg knows that she does not want this kind of intimacy from the man 9 years her senior and soundly rejects the advance. Kielczewski, far from thinking clearly, does not take well to the rebuff and continues the clumsy procession. Spurned again, lust turns to rage and Kevin's hands reach for Kayla's throat. Kielczewski presses down on the flesh, which collars Berg's neck. In less than the length of time it takes for the song on the Jeep's car stereo to epilogue, Kayla Berg succumbs to the strangulation on the shoulder of the Dairyland Road. Kevin Kielczewski seeks now to alleviate himself of the most foul event. His first stop is to his family's property just outside of Deerbrook. Here, Kevin buries Kayla beneath the Badger State earth. Kielczewski next grabs a change of clothes and heads to the location of his employment. At the vast potato farm, Kevin finds a patch of seldom used soil and disposes of his previous garb. Back home, a tear-stained confession is exchanged between mother and son. Weeks later, when the Antigua police reach Kevin, he identifies the house at 1017 East Wausau Avenue as Kayla's final observation site in the hopes of casting suspicion on Miguel Marrero, unaware that Kayla Berg's sometimes beau has long since moved. On June 15, 2011, James Spanbauer succumbed to his long-term affliction. He was 51 years old. According to his loved ones, James never relinquished hope that Kayla would return home and that they would see each other again. On August 11, 2016, Antigua Police Chief Eric Roller acknowledged that the potential for positive resolution in the Berg case was remote, saying, "I think the chances of finding somebody after 7 years, well and okay, is probably slim." But the cynical outlook has not stopped Roller and his department from doing everything that they can to manifest the faint possibility. They have solicited the services of both the FBI and the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the latter of which produced numerous age progressions of Kayla. In July 2021, the condemned house at 1017 East Wausau Avenue, the epicenter of controversy regarding Berg's disappearance, was demolished by the county. The vacant land on which it once stood is currently for sale. Jimmy Berg is haunted by the feeling that he should have been there for his little sister, a feeling that he maintains 14 years removed from her going missing. Hope Sprague maintains a similar sentiment, wishing she would have been more stern in the weeks leading up to her daughter's disappearance. With fading optimism that for Hope dims more every year, the crestfallen mother exclaims, "I miss seeing Kayla smile and hearing her voice." A $20,000 reward is being offered in this case. Thank you so much for listening to the story of Kayla Berg. Please be sure to like and subscribe. As always, I just want to take a moment before I go to tell you what a special person you are and how much your support is truly appreciated. Continue striving to do well and be kind. Never forget that small things matters, and your positive disposition can mean the difference to so many on any given day. I'm Brandon Smith, and I'll see you next time.